of the questions I hate the most in discussions about controversial art, especially in the sense of controversial art, controversial media for adults, right? Is at what point is something truly too much? Because the only real answer to that question, the only genuine answer to that question is it depends. Especially when we're talking about pure fiction, something completely unrelated to the real world. Everyone has different preferences. What might be too much to you might be just enough to one person, to another person. What might be too little to you might be already too much to another person. And the main example that people go to when talking about this controversial subject is like sexual stuff, right? But it can be applied to a whole host of different subjects. For example, edgy humor, right? To a lot of people, they're okay with edgy humor that they deem still acceptable. When a woman makes a sexist joke that's clearly in jest, she genuinely, obviously does not believe it. It's just a joke, and obviously it's a woman making a misogynist joke. It's a woman making a joke about women. People are okay with that, but anything beyond that, like a random dude, making a misogynist joke, even if, again, he clearly also does not believe what he's saying, he doesn't mean it, it is really just a joke. Like, that's already too much to a lot of people. But to me, that's when jokes start being funny. I like that edgy stuff. I like it when people push boundaries and go legitimately offensive. They actually make offensive humor that is actually offensive. That's what I enjoy. The same thing is true with violence. For example, my mom, she can't watch anything that's too violent. A bit of blood is fine for her, but the moment people start getting melted or their limbs start flying off, things like that, she completely checks out of whatever piece of media she's watching, right? Well, to some people, if this kind of content isn't on screen, then they don't watch it. For example, many people will probably remember the RoboCop reboot, right? Now, obviously, the lack of overt violence is the least of the problems with that movie, right? Even though I enjoyed it. But the point is that a lot of people just immediately checked out of that movie because the original was a gore fest and they liked that. And so when they saw that the reboot was PG-13, they already checked out. And the same could be said about other things like gross out stuff. Like the kind of humor that South Park employs, it something I do not enjoy. It's too much for me. But again, it's just enough for some people. It's so on and so forth. I think you get the point, right? Like it really is just that subjective a thing. It varies. Like what is too much or too little, it varies to like every person. But instead of accepting that and simply like understanding that the solution to this problem of some people finding certain content too much or too little is to freedom to like creators to be able to make whatever content they want, and that way we can have a diverse industry that can like appeal to everyone, like they say they want, like to really have that kind of industry where everyone can produce whatever content they want, and so everyone has like an option. Like for some reason people kind of have this obsession, I guess, with trying to establish a universal like rule or universal standards, like this consensus that people are supposed to have, where we're all supposed to agree about one thing or another being too much or too little. And so we have kind of a guideline that everyone needs to follow and apply to their content in order for it to be just right, for it to be tasteful, for it to like please people, like attend to a certain like appeal without going overboard and end up like offending people, right? It's that fantasy of being able to please everyone. And this simply is not possible. Like you can't please everyone. You can't have a standards of what is too much or too little that everyone will agree with. And a lot of people in my community will know that I meme a lot about like Ark Knights, right? I regularly make fun of Ark Knights fans, and this is a big part of the reason, because a lot of them say that other gacha games go too far with the fan service, and that more gacha games should like implement fan service like Limbus Company or Ark Knights, because there is fan service there, but it doesn't go overboard. It's not too much. It's tasteful. It's a way to implement fan service that doesn't like upset the people that don't like fan service. But here's the thing, it doesn't upset you for the same reasons that it's not enough for me. Sorry, you can call me names, you can say that I'm a bad person or whatever, but I legitimately do not find any of the Ark Knight's characters sexy. Not a singular one. And that's because I simply require something more exaggerated. I like things like bikini armor, for example, or I like more blatantly sexual designs like those of Azure Lane or Nikkei. Things like bunny suits or power leotards, for example. And I do understand that there is a market for more moderate stuff, and I respect it. If you like the fan service, or specifically of Ark Knights, or at least you like that level of fan service that Ark Knights has, that's totally reasonable. But expecting that to be an standard for the whole gacha industry, that the perfect level to please everyone, doesn't exist. I guarantee you there are people that are still bothered by Ark Knights or even Limbus Company's fan service. I just saw a thread on Twitter of people complaining about one of their egos or another being over-sexualized. So yeah, people that are even bothered by that level of fan service of, again, Limbus Company. And there are people like me who also have the opposite opinion, who don't like it because they don't find it enough to be sexy. And so that's why I hate this question so much, no matter where it is applied, be it to gross out humor, sexuality, like edgy humor, violence, or any kind of controversial subject, because something being too much really is just something subjective. You can't have a standard for any of these things that's universal, that's going to please everyone, that's going to fulfill this fantasy of like something that everyone can agree with. But a lot of people seem to want to do that because they don't even want something for themselves, because a lot of the time they already have something for themselves. They just want to control others. For example, a lot of Ark Knights fans don't just want to have Ark Knights, they want every other like game to adhere to that, because they don't like that level of fan service, but they want to play those games. So they want them to have the same level of fan service as Ark Knights, so they can play those other games too. Not understanding that it's not fair. Like, imagine if I apply this kind of in reverse. No, Ark Knights is not enough. I really like Ark Knights' gameplay. I don't. This is just an example. But I really want to play Ark Knights, but god, these designs are so boring. Can't they change it to be something for me? That's not fair. Like, there should be games for people who like Ark Knight's level of fan service. There should be games for people that like the level of fan service I prefer, and there should be games that have even things in between or completely outside of that scale. Like, for example, Cookie Run Kingdom is completely not anime at all, and that's something that's also necessary, Because there are people who want to play these kinds of gacha games, but they don't like anime. Shocker. And there should be like games for these people too. And so I just don't understand this like pathological behavior of wanting to control others. Like, why can't we have a bunch of things, bunch of options, so everyone has something for themselves to enjoy? Why do we need to like have things for ourselves but have to keep controlling what other people can enjoy? And I know exactly why. It's because they are whiny people that don't want to be bothered. They don't like something, and because they don't like it, because it makes them uncomfy, it shouldn't exist. Like, only the things that they like should exist, and screw other people, right? They will never admit it, they will never say this outright, but it's exactly what they're thinking, what they're implying. And that's why I hate this kind of behavior. Especially because I know that, again, if someone were to apply those same standards in reverse, if someone were to, again, try to do that thing I was saying of making this kind of argument, but for my tastes, like, so everything should have Nikkei level fan service. Like, fuck other people and fuck like what makes them comfortable. Fuck having something for them to enjoy. Fan service should be at this level for whatever reason. Let's just say that it's because it pleases the people that like fan service, and the people who don't like fan service can go do something else, right? Some kind of argument like that. That's not fair. There should be games for all types of people. So that's why I, as I keep hammering home, really hate this kind of argument, because that's the like end goal of it, even if they won't admit to it. That's the logical conclusion, the consequences of taking it, this argument, to its logical conclusions. It's what we arrive at. It's this idea that no, we need to have something that appeals to everyone so no one is bothered, when again this kind of thing doesn't exist. We should just accept that there are going to be things that are for us and some things that are going to bother us, instead of trying to police others so the world is all comfy or whatever. Again, I just don't like this question. I don't like this kind of like idea that there needs to be a universal kind of standard for this sort of thing. And I hope I was able to articulate why I dislike that kind of argument, why I dislike that line of thought, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, I hope I was able to make myself clear, make my thoughts clear, and if you disagree, respectfully of course, in any way, if you have a different perspective on this, or maybe you think I'm right in certain ways, wrong in others, or that there can be some kind of middle ground between the two like ways of thinking, please comment down below. Again, the purpose of these videos is to initiate discussion, so if you do have your own thoughts, your own opinions about this topic to share, then please do. And that will be it for today. If you like this video, please do all the normal YouTube stuff, you know, like, comment, subscribe, etc. And I genuinely do hope to see you next time. If you really liked it, I'd also really appreciate if you could support me financially, either through a one-time paid comment donation or by joining my membership, where for $1 a month, you get to participate in exclusive polls in order to decide which videos I'll make next. Like, which of my plans should I focus on? Which of the content I have in mind do you want to see first? You know, that kind of thing. As well as get your name put in this fancy little screen right here. You know, just as a small gesture of appreciation, exactly for your monthly support. But of course, no matter how much you choose to give me, as well as if you choose to give me anything at all, do know that I really appreciate any cent you're willing to throw my way, as well as just the fact that you're watching this video up to this point at all. But with all that stuff out of the way, I think it's finally time to, as always, bid you guys farewell. Obscure Anime